I top Billin. Y'all remember for my perfect comp series, I did Jamar Chase. And I was trying to figure out a comp for my man who is 6'1", 200 pounds, running estimated, in my opinion, between a 4.47 and 4.53 40-yard dash. And I was talked about his hands, his lower body strength, the route running being above average, and contested catch, even exchange situations and everything like that, right? So my guy was Golden Tate. And a lot of you guys probably didn't know who the hell Golden Tate was, so you weren't really cool with that. But a lot of people got it, and I do still think that's a perfect comp, only because what did I say? I wanted to use Golden Tate because I did not want to use Hall of Famer Steve Smith, whom I compare Golden Tate to, right? Or I compare Golden Tate to Steve Smith, right? So I go on my phone here and I get the Google card and I see something, right? Well, let me just show you. All right, so NFL Network media analyst Daniel Jeremiah, who obviously has a complete focus on the draft, has a scouting LSU Jamar Chase here, right? And he says wide receiver like Anquan Boldin and Steve Smith, right? So, I guess your boy old Murf here wasn't too far off, with the Golden Tate thing, right? Considering that's who I think Golden Tate is. He's pretty much Steve Smith, right? So the path of least resistance, I always say, is to compare them to somebody who is like a Hall of Famer rather than a Hall of Famer, just to be on the safe side, because you just never know how somebody will be when they get into the NFL, right? So Jamar Chase is in a favorable situation playing at LSU in a style of offense. Don't get me wrong, man. He's the absolute truth and everything like that, but I always like to be on the safer side of things. At least that's just how I do it as far as comps go. But everybody likes the flashy comps there. But this is what I like right here. This particular content item was actually born from another receiver that I did a comparison on here, but I kind of audible here when I saw this Jamar Chase thing as kind of a recommended thing here. But I'll get to that other one as well here. But this is what I like to see, right? Obviously, guys know I don't give a flip about nobody else in the media. I only care about what I think about football, and that'll be that way till I die. So I hate when people come here and they try to tell me what other people said and shit like that. I'm like, well, just go over there. Why you got to come here and tell me this is my shit? Why are you telling me what somebody else thinks about football? So, but as far as this goes, these type of guys can give you good information if they're talking to people at the school and stuff like that. So I will give them credit for stuff like that. But he goes on here to talk about, some of the stuff that stood out to me. Really nothing, to be honest with you. It's not shit that I've already said here for the past year and a half on Jamar Chase. He says where he needs to improve at. He said he's a complete receiver. He has a couple of drops on balls thrown to his back hip, which is easily correctable. He doesn't have elite height for the position, but he plays much taller with his combination of leaping ability, ball skills, and play strength. Blah, blah, blah. Y'all have heard me say that 50 million times. Competitive nature, off the charts, of course. All right, so he gets here. He reminds me of, and he did the Steve Smith Sr. Anquan Boldin. He said his competitiveness and run after the catch ability reminds me of guys like Steve Smith Sr. and Anquan Boldin. Of course it does right there. Very similar players from that standpoint. Different athletic traits, though, between Steve Smith Sr. and Anquan Boldin. Steve Smith Sr. was electrifying, very twitchy and all that, where Anquan Boldin was more of a powerful guy, right? Had great ball skills, a powerful guy, a pretty good route runner. Steve Smith blended all those skills. He just so happened to be 5'9". That was just the only thing you could say about Steve Smith. But every single skill to be a great wide receiver he had. He said they have different builds, but they play with the same nasty physical demeanor with the ball in their hands. There are also times when Chase does things that reminds me of JuJu Smith-Schuster, right? So that's a receiver that I always forget about, despite the fact that I covered this man at USC for Rivals when I worked there, and I'm a huge fan of his game. He really does. Him and Jamar Chase really do play very similarly here, right? Very similarly sized. Actually, let's look at what JuJu Smith here is working with. Pause. All right, so we see 6'1", 215 pounds. I think LSU before, I think they used to list him at 6'1", or I may be mistaken, but LSU is now listing listing Jamar Chase at 6 feet tall, 208 pounds. So very similar there, 6'1", 215. He ran a 4.54. So very much in the estimate of what I said with Jamar Chase with the 4.47 to 4.53. We know what JuJu Smith is about, man. He's a goddamn animal. And you talk about contested catch, even exchange situations, run after the catch, a nasty demeanor, route running. I always thought JuJu Smith-Schuster was a very good route runner. His hands are nasty. Everything you can think of the sort. Even the same thing with his sophomore year was exceptional, right? His sophomore year was exceptional. I forget what happened his junior year. I want to say, maybe something happened with the quarterback or something. I had to go back and really think about that right there. But he had a phenomenal, here we go right here. Yeah, 1,454 yards as a sophomore. And then he dropped down to 914 yards. I cannot remember what happened his junior year, though. But so people always say, like, when I was doing, it's like, Murf, Jamar Chase would be a top 10 pick. You got to compare him to somebody who's a top 10 pick. That's not the case, bro. That's never the case. Jamar Chase is going to be a top 10 pick probably based off circumstances that a lot of people his size are doing well in the NFL, right? So it's always those people, if you think about it from a scouting standpoint, think about it, Alvin Kamara, right? I forget which round he went in, but obviously if we go back now and they redrafted him, he would be a top 10, top 15 pick because of what he's done in the league. So his success in the league allowed others that were similar to him to get drafted higher than they probably would have or even should have, right? I think about a guy like Sony Michel. They kept comparing him to Alvin Kamara. He ends up going in the first round. I think he went in the end of the first round to the Patriots. So stuff like that. So from a scouting standpoint. So I want to know what you guys think about those comparisons right there. For some of you who didn't do the perfect comp, let me get your comparison for Jamar Chase. But JuJu Smith-Schuster, man, that's a very good comparison there. I usually don't like to compare guys who are kind of similar in age. JuJu Smith-Schuster was hella young at USC. He's just 23 years old right now, 23.6, but he has a couple of years in the NFL now, so it's not a bad comparison with Jamar Chase just being a junior in college right now. They are very similar. So did you see there? Schuster, I believe, was a second-round pick. So would you draft JuJu Smith-Schuster in the first round now? Or normally would a guy with his skill set or Jamar Chase's skill set normally be a second-round type player like JuJu Smith was? Let me know, all right? Peace.
What more can I say?
Top Billin.